You've grinded for 40 years, saved every penny. Finally hit 65, pop the champagne, and then bam, your body starts falling apart. You spend your golden years in doctor's offices instead of on beaches or with grandkids. Sound like a nightmare? Retiring at 65 could be one of the biggest financial and life mistakes you ever make. Stick with me. I'm about to show you the hidden trap most people ignore and how to beat it. What if 65 is already too late? Not financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. Because the real danger of waiting until 65 to retire has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with something far more fragile: your healthy time. Let me explain. Most people plan their retirement around one number. How long do I live? But that's the wrong number. The real number that matters is how long can you still actually live well, still travel, still walk all day in a new city, still climb stairs without pain, still swim, explore, drive scooters, eat freely, move freely, and wake up excited instead of exhausted. There is a massive difference between being alive and being healthy enough to enjoy your life. Experts call this your healthy life expectancy. It's the age where, on average, serious health problems begin to limit your independence. The shocking truth about healthy life expectancy. Let's talk about something nobody warns you about. Healthy life expectancy. The number of years you can expect to live in good health without major diseases or disabilities holding you back. The World Health Organization tracks this globally, and the data is brutal for Americans. In places like Japan, the average person stays healthy until about 74. Singapore, around 73, 74. South Korea, Switzerland, even Cyprus and Israel, most top countries hit 72, 73 years of vibrant, active life. Now the United States? We're clocking in at roughly 64 lately, down from higher numbers pre-pandemic and way behind our peers. That's right. On average, Americans lose their peak health right around 64. Think about that. The traditional retirement age is 65 or 67 for full Social Security. So if you're like most people waiting until then, you might get just 1 year or less of truly healthy, energetic retirement before chronic issues kick in. Heart problems, mobility loss, fatigue, the stuff that turns travel dreams into couch days. The retirement reality check. Stats that hit hard. Let's look at when Americans actually retire. Recent Gallup and labor stats show we're pushing it later than ever. Under 55, barely anyone retires early, only about 3 to 6% in their 50s, and many of those were forced out by layoffs or health issues, not choice. 55 to 59, just around 11% retired, down big from 20% a couple decades ago. 60 to 64, only about 32% are retired, way down from 41% in the past. Even 70 to 79, nearly a third are still working. And past 70, millions keep grinding. 12% or more over 75 are still on the job. We're retiring later because costs are up, savings feel short, health is declining faster. But here's the kicker. As we delay retirement, our healthy years aren't extending to match. In fact, in the US, healthy life expectancy has stagnated or even dipped in recent years while total lifespan creeps up. You're living longer, but sicker. Do you want 10, 15 okay years tacked on at the end, or 20, 30 amazing active ones earlier? I know what I'd pick. Most people only plan for income. Very few people plan for energy, for mobility, for freedom while healthy. And that becomes extremely obvious when you talk to retirees. You hear the same sentences again and again. We were going to travel, but then my knee went bad. We planned to move abroad, but now my back can't handle long flights. We wanted to slow travel through Asia, but now my partner needs regular medical care. The money was there, the time was finally there, but the body wasn't. And that's why this matters so much for people like you, people who dream of living better, people who watch videos about retiring overseas, about moving to places like the Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, or Southern Europe. Because the truth is, those lifestyles are built on one invisible asset: your physical ability to enjoy them. Island life is not fun when you can't walk far. Southeast Asia is not fun when heat destroys your energy. Slow travel is not fun when every suitcase feels like a workout. You don't just retire to a place, you retire into a body. So here's the uncomfortable question. Do you really want to design your entire future around the moment your health is statistically about to decline? Because that's exactly what the traditional retirement model does. Why this happens, and what you can actually do. So why is the US lagging? Diet heavy on processed junk, sedentary jobs, stress, healthcare gaps. It's a perfect storm. But the good news? You don't have to be average. You can shift your odds. First, invest in your health like it's your biggest asset, because it is. Wealth without health is worthless. Ditch the cheap fast food traps. Spend a little more on real food, veggies, lean proteins, whole grains. Cook at home. It's cheaper long-term than hospital bills. Move every day. Cardio a few times a week keeps your heart strong. Strength training, maintain muscle mass. It's not about looking like a bodybuilder. It's about staying independent into your 80s. Sleep, stress management, regular checkups, the basics compound like interest in a 401k. Second, build a retirement plan that lets you escape the 9-to-5 sooner. Aim for 55, 60, whatever feels right while you're still full of energy. The 3 unbreakable rules I've seen work. Spend less than you earn, no exceptions. Half of high earners, over 100,000, save nothing because lifestyle inflation eats it all up. Track every dollar. One house. In this Airbnb era, do you really need a second property sucking up taxes, maintenance, and HOA fees? Vacation smarter, not more expensively. One spouse. Said with a wink, but seriously, divorce can wipe out decades of savings. Invest in your relationship. Counseling when rocky. My wife and I have had tough patches. We went to therapy and it saved us financially and emotionally. Not for everyone, but worth considering. Then invest wisely. Studies show 90% of long-term investing success comes from asset allocation. How much in stocks versus bonds, not picking hot stocks. Most people guess wrong and panic sell in crashes. Remember 2008's 50 to 60% drops? Work with a pro who's seen hundreds of families through market storms. They'll keep you from emotional mistakes. Final motivation. Picture this. You turn 60 with a solid nest egg, great health, and maybe 1,000 weeks, about 20 years of prime active life ahead. That's not forever. Time flies. Look at your family history. Heart issues early, diabetes, factor it in. Then ask, do I really want to look back and say, I waited too long? Retiring at 65 is not automatically wrong, but blindly aiming for 65 is, because the real deadline is not your pension, it's your health. Plan your money around your body, not the other way around. Design your future so that your best years are not spent waiting for permission to live. Because the biggest tragedy of modern retirement is not running out of money, it's running out of good life, and realizing it just a little too late. Retire when you're healthy enough to enjoy it. Travel, hobbies, family, whatever lights you up.